Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Coffee and Football, presented by John Donovan and Longhorn Wealth Management Group. I'm your host, Blake Monroe, and I'm joined each and every morning by Bobby Burton and Jerry Hamilton. Be sure to tell us where you're checking in from, what you're drinking, get your questions in. We got a lot to talk about, and we'll get to those questions here momentarily. But first, guys, we're going to start with basketball, as it seems a whole lot has happened since we were last on the air Friday. Jerry, I'm going to let you start.
Yeah, obviously we've been saying that there was going to be a change at Texas basketball, and that happened. Rodney Terry obviously had coached his last game when they lost to Xavier. If they hadn't made the run in the SEC tournament, they wouldn't have even been in the tournament. So Texas has moved on from Rodney Terry, and in CDC fashion, quickly made the move to Shawn Miller. We have no word yet on when that announcement press conference is going to happen. But Shawn Miller is the next head basketball coach at Texas. And again, we're waiting on that press conference. Look, I'm a big fan of the hire. I share the same opinion. A lot of, I talked to 3 assistant college basketball assistants in the last few days as all this stuff was transpiring. When we put out on Texas football, put out Saturday morning that Shawn Miller was indeed the front runner, and barring a unicorn saying yes late, of sorts, Shawn Miller's going to be the next head coach at Texas. So I contact a lot of coaching buddies over those few days, kind of making sure of information, things like that, and talking to guys. And they all think the guy's a very, very good basketball coach. Jermaine O'Neal, longtime NBA player, told a father of a top recruit yesterday in the Dallas area to AAU practice tournament. He thinks it's a tremendous hire by Texas. Thinks he's going to kickstart international recruiting, runs a really good offense, has a great offensive system, is going to have a good mix of bigs and guards, going to have strong guard play. They're going to be able to shoot the ball from multiple spots. So the basketball minds really like the hire of Shawn Miller at Texas. And now we're kind of, Bobby, waiting on the press conference for the introduction. But the other thing I was told was the NIL, it will go up even from where it's at. But I was told yesterday it's expected to go up at least over $1 million to 1.2 next year to start in the 5 range for Texas basketball. That would put them in the top 15.
Yeah, here's the reality of it. First of all, thank you to Rodney Terry, right, guys? He represented Texas the right way. He took over a unbelievably bad situation, led Texas to an Elite Eight. The one thing, while some on-court issues persisted maybe through the entire time, I don't think any of us would say anything negative about Rodney Terry as a whole. Great dude, represented the University of Texas the best he knew how, was always a positive force in that. So first of all, I want to say thank you to Rodney Terry. Okay. Now, secondly, you mentioned Shawn Miller and when his press conference might be and when he might be introduced. Here's the reality, Jerry and Blake. What's going on the 40 acres over the next 48 hours?
Oh, it's wild.
Nuts. I mean, so how are they going to squeeze all this stuff in? The women play basketball today at 1 at Moody. Okay. Tomorrow, spring practice starts, and then you have the spring practice starts. Then you have pro day at 1 o'clock tomorrow, and then Texas relays is this week. The only day that I know of that like Shawn Miller could get his own day is Wednesday. So that's 48 hours away. So to your point, Jerry, about what basketball people feel, I mean, I just remember him playing point guard at Pitt and then what he did at Arizona. I don't follow it as closely as you do. You said that was Jermaine O'Neal, the former
NBA player whose daughter was a volleyball player at Texas. He owns Drive Nation, one of the big Nike AAU teams. He's very much entrenched in the AAU basketball world now with his kids. And again, owns Drive Nation. And those guys, look, the basketball minds are very excited about the hire. Somebody in here asked, is Shawn Miller an upgrade from Rodney Terry? Yeah, Rodney Terry's a really good guy, but it's not even close as a basketball coach. We're talking about totally different stratospheres here. And I will say this, my personal opinion, this is the second best basketball coach Texas has ever hired on the men's side to Chris Beard. I think Shawn Miller is much more accomplished than Rick Barnes was when he was hired at Texas, and we'll see where it goes. But Shawn Miller, the thing I'll say about Shawn Miller is he while he is 56, he is coming into a major program for the second time to try and complete his resume. I mean, when you've been to 4 Elite Eights and 8 Sweet 16s and 13 tournament appearances, that's pretty good. I mean, he ranks among the top 10 active college basketball coaches in NCAA tournament success. There's a graphic out there that you can find. I posted it on texasfootball.com where he kind of ranks. He ranks in the top 10 of active coaches in college basketball. 22 NCAA tournament wins above kind of what you'd expect a coach to do. He's pretty high on all that stuff. And, you know, look, he's coming into a university that's now putting more resources into basketball than they ever have. And he's coming in at the right time. And he's coming in with purpose to try to get something done that he hasn't in his career and try to see where he can take this thing at Texas. But look, I often say, you know, it's a big argument on all the sites and stuff. Everybody's like, well, can you win a national championship? Well, Texas has never won a national championship in basketball. I mean, so whoever eventually does it's going to be the first. And I'm not saying it's going to be him. You don't know in college basketball. I mean, I've thrown all the numbers out for everybody. I mean, Bill Self's won 2 in 37 years as a head coach. It's hard to win it all in basketball. It's hard to win 6 straight games in a tournament setting. But, you know, I think he's the second best basketball coach Texas has ever hired.
I will
do very, very well with the resources behind him and the motivation he has with it.
Say this just real quick also. Aaliyah Chavez announces tomorrow as well. That's going on. And hats off. I mean, by the way, Texas baseball, we got to talk about them. I mean, we got a lot of stuff to talk. Texas baseball took 2 or 3 from LSU over the weekend.
Number 2 LSU.
What? Yeah.
Number 2 LSU.
Yeah. I mean, look, Texas baseball is starting to look legit. Okay. Texas softball swept Auburn. We got some good things going on the 40 this week. I think that's what my whole.
By the way, Aaliyah Chavez visited Oklahoma over the weekend.
Yeah.
So they got the last word for the announcement. Again, I'll say the same thing I have been, and I think it's what Tech's been up against. We'll see what happens, but look, where this game has changed, it's one thing if you've always worn Nikes and you go to a college not having an endorsement deal. But is the rumor of Chavez being at the Texas game today true? We'll see on that. We'll see. It would make some.
I'm working to find out.
Yeah, Blake's working to find out on that. So here's the thing, though. If she signs an endorsement deal with Nike, she is paid by Nike starting in college. Very hard for me to believe she ends up playing for an Adidas school in that scenario. Now, if you go to a school and then later on you sign an endorsement deal with somebody else, that's different. But if you sign an endorsement deal with a Nike before you ever play a college basketball game, it would be interesting to see that athlete nowadays go to a school that's not Nike.
Look, I'm not worried about Tech.
In Texas and OU, the Nikes.
Yeah, I'm more. I think this is coming down. It's pretty apparent coming down to Texas and OU. Doesn't mean that Tech couldn't make a last-minute phone call, you know, and change the whole dynamic. That's just not what it means. Look, my point though on everything going on, I think Shawn Miller is the news of the weekend. But my point is, man, there's so much stuff. Look, Jerry, did you see this? And this is another news from the weekend. It's also spring track season in high school sports, right? Jalen Lott, James Lott's son, okay? He went 7 foot in the high jump on Saturday. 7 foot. I mean, that's just – and now his dad was an NCAA champ in the high jump.
We're going to get James Lott back on the show.
Yeah, we've got to get him back on.
Yeah.
My point is, there was news everywhere in Texas as it relates to Texas. Jerry, I want to ask you a couple of pointed questions though about Shawn Miller, if you don't mind, because I do think that it's fair to say that he seems to be the favorite was the favorite of Chris Del Conte. Okay, from the get go. Well, we heard about it. We knew last go round, CDC really liked Shawn Miller. This is from Ryan. Who are the other leading candidates besides Miller? But more than that, we talked a little bit about that, whether it's Rick Pitino or these unicorn, Bill Self. To your opinion, what was the deciding factor of why Miller won out over other candidates? Whether that's, I don't know, Tommy Lloyd at Arizona. Why Miller over those other guys, in your opinion?
Yeah, so I want to say this because whenever coaching jobs come open, it's always about the unicorns, right? I said this last night. I'm going to say it again. Nick Saban's never coached the game at Texas, and he never will. And every time there was a job opening, it was always Nick Saban's going to come to Texas, and it was always BS. It wasn't happening, and so that's where all these searches start with the dreamland scenarios. And look, for these guys, whenever there's an opening, think about how many jobs Mark Few's turned down or Bill Self has turned down throughout his career. Whenever a job opening is there, any coach is going to any AD is going to reach out to 3 or 4 guys who are considered the unicorns, right? Once those are realized it's not realistic and there's no chance it's happening, then you move to who are the very, very best coaches you can get. And here's the thing that I'll tell you about the Texas basketball search is this was all about hiring the best coach Texas could get, in their opinion. And I think they've hired a tremendous basketball coach.
So you like him better than why him over some other guy like Roy?
So let's say Tommy Lloyd. Let's say, because we heard the two names were Shawn Miller and Tommy Lloyd. I can sit here and say, I'm not sure I have a preference on one over the other. I said this on Texas football. I'd have been very, very happy with either guy. I think they're both terrific basketball coaches. I think they both have a piece that I've wanted at Texas for a long time. One, they're really good offensive coaches, and it's a fun style. People are going to enjoy going to the Moody Center and watching the product on the court. They're going to be well-coached teams with offensive basketball players. Either way, I love the international recruiting piece that both these guys have. I think it's an area that Texas has been missing for many, many years. Texas is a worldwide brand, and I think Texas has the ability. And it doesn't mean you're going to have 5 international players out of 13 scholarship players, but to build part of your roster from around the world. So there's so many tremendous international players coming to college basketball. Point guard at Illinois. I mean, you can go on and on. There's guys at Arizona under Tommy Lloyd. Shawn Miller had some great players at Arizona that were international players. Laurie Markkinen, guys that are still in the NBA and really good. Texas has to start capitalizing on their worldwide brand in basketball. There's no reason not to. They did it a little bit different. Toronto, Tristan Thompson, Corey Joseph, right? They played basketball in the States, though, in high school. It's a little different. Texas has to start capitalizing on this. And it doesn't mean a 30-year roster, but I think, look, if those were the two realistic options, I would have been very happy with either guy. People can argue one guy or the other. But I would have been very happy with either of those guys because they check the boxes, me personally, that I think Texas basketball needs moving forward.
So that's your differentiator is the why he makes sense is he can help Texas expand a little bit. It's
offensive basketball. We're in an offensive world. These games are being won in the 80s and 90s in the NCAA tournament. You have to be able to put it on the board against good people. The SEC is an offensive league. I mean, you just look at the scores, look at the league, look at all the stats. You have to have length, athleticism, but you also have to be able to shoot it, and you have to be able to really score the ball at a high level. And I think Shawn Miller can do that. I think Tommy Lloyd could have done that. Either one of those guys I'd have been happy with. Offensive basketball, offensive system, style of play, all that also factors in the Moody being fans wanting to go to Moody to watch your team. And then how do you maximize recruiting in the portal day and age? Look, there's high school recruiting, which you're probably going to take 2 guys in most classes. Maybe 1 year it's 3. So then what do? You have you have your portal, you have international recruiting. And international recruiting in a way is like portal recruiting because these kids come up playing against older guys and they're not on an AAU circuit. They don't have that same media attention all their life. They grew up playing against older players. So in a way, they're almost like a portal transfer. They're coming in to college basketball more advanced than high school kids out of AAU. So I just, whoever could maximize all of that, I was all for. And I think Texas, if it really came down to, which we believe it did, Bobby, Shawn Miller and Tommy Lloyd, I think Texas, I don't think they could have gone wrong with either one of those guys. And I don't think either guy guarantees cutting down nets and Final Fours. You have to go get it done. Look, Mark Pope had never won an NCAA tournament game before he got the Kentucky job. And here he sits in the Sweet 16. Tremendous offensive coach. He's at a blue blood. He's got great resources. Obviously, he was on great teams at Kentucky. But he had never won a tournament game. And Kentucky fans he was their 7th choice. So you got to see what happens. I think Shawn Miller is a very good basketball coach. I'll say.
Let me ask you this, and I know we're running over before our first ad read, but the question I had for you, Waves Deep just mentioned something that Blake pulled up. It's been frustrating for me for the last 20 years, whether it was Rick Barnes or Chris Beard or more recently, or Shaka Smart or more recently, Rodney Terry. Texas, more than any team I know, seem to go into these 5-minute scoring lulls or 6-minute scoring where they literally, they just look lost at times on offense. I know that's going to still happen to Shawn Miller at times. Do we think that's going to happen less?
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? It's like call a timeout and call a play or something. That's one of the things that's been frustrating. Whether it's Rodney Terry, Shaka Smart, or Rick Barnes, all 3 of them, Chris Beard, same way. They'd go 4 and 5, 6 minutes without a bucket. You think that'll be less? That's just one of the frustrating things.
I think that's where basketball's headed. Look, there's some fans that don't necessarily like it. I happen to like it, but here's the reality. That's where basketball's headed. Basketball's headed to there's more teams averaging more possessions and more points per game than ever. So you just look around the SEC at what these teams are scoring. So I do think Shawn Miller has a really good offensive system. And one thing he's proven out, he's a really good evaluator of talent, and he's putting those rosters together. I just think the guy's going to do very well at Texas. And part of it's, even though I think he's a really good offensive coach and a really good basketball coach and all the things we've talked about many times, I think the guy's coming in very, very motivated.
So not fewer. Yeah, there still will be those lags, but hopefully it's not like 1 a game.
Yeah.
Right. That's what it felt like at times when Texas was playing difficult opponents. Every single game, there would be a 5 or 6 minute stretch where they didn't score a bucket. And hopefully that's a lot less ISO ball. That was another one. Hey, we need to say thank you and take this time to do it to our sponsor, John Donovan, President, Longhorn Wealth Management Group. We appreciate John very much. He's a proud Texas Ex's Life member whose wife and 6 siblings are also UT grads. The family UT passion is what led John to brand his firm, Longhorn Wealth Management Group. He dedicates it to providing investment, retirement, insurance, and estate planning services and solutions to Longhorn families and friends across the nation. John's very excited about the hire of new men's basketball coach Shawn Miller. In honor of that big move by CDC to maximize the future of men's basketball, John wants to offer all OTF fans a free 90-minute private consultation to learn how working with a certified financial planner can help you maximize your wealth, minimize your taxes, and secure your legacy. Call John and the Longhorn Wealth Team, 972-707-4900, or go online, www.longhornwealth.net, to schedule your free 90-minute private consultation with John today. Hook 'em from John and the team at longhornwealth.net. 3rd year sponsoring On Texas Football. We appreciate you, John.
All right, guys. Bobby, as you said, we have a lot to talk about today. And spring ball and pro day, both tomorrow. Spring ball starts tomorrow. And then, of course, pro day But I wanted to share this here, and let me take this advertisement.
Share
down.
away, Blake. Share away.
So Matt Miller recently came out, like as of this morning, with his top 50
Wait,
draft.
I thought Banks was falling to the 4th round. What's going on here?
Yeah, and he actually has Banks ahead of Will Campbell from LSU. Says he's the top tackle on the board. So this is just top 50 draft prospects, not where they're slotted to go in the draft or anything like that. But Banks at number 8, Jahdae Barron at number 11. And then he has Matthew Golden at 16. Obviously, I'm not going to read all that to y'all, but he says that Golden is in the contention for the first receiver taken off the board there. And then at number 49, the final Longhorn in the top 50 list, Alfred Collins.
There we go, Alfred.
So 4 in the top 50 from ESPN on the top 50 NFL draft picks.
Hey, Bobby, the pro day is going to be huge for some of these guys. Obviously, not for the first 3 mentioned. Alfred Collins.
He'll go through the bag drills, I bet, tomorrow.
Cam Williams.
Yep.
Gunnar Helm, will he run tomorrow? How's the ankle? But there was a question last night. There was a good one that somebody asked Rod, CJ, and I in the chat. Who do we think could have the best day at pro day? You know who I said? Silas Bolden.
Yeah.
Because it's his only shot at it. You know, you saw Kobe Black's brother run 4.38 and 4.39 at Oklahoma State Pro Day the other day. He's a really talented corner that wasn't a combine invite. Obviously, he helped himself there. So, and I'm not saying Silas Bolden would get drafted, but it won't shock me if Silas Bolden doesn't put on a little bit of a show at Pro Day and people talk about him. Obviously, big day for Cam Williams. I agree, David Rawls. See where his knee's at. See how healthy he is. Gunnar Helm, where the ankle's at. And then Alfred Collins, I think he can improve on his testing numbers.
Yeah, Silas Bolden will be out there looking for a flyer as an undrafted free agent. He will be one of those guys. That gets started, we think, around 1 o'clock. Media's been, Jerry and I have been asked to show up and the rest of the media around 12:30 in the afternoon tomorrow. So we'll be there for that. The morning, as far as spring practice is concerned, Jerry, that starts tomorrow morning. We've yet to hear whether there's going to be any practice viewing availability. We'll be available in case there is. Jerry and I will be there, but we'll find that out from John Bianco and his group, Thomas Stepp, the sports information directors, and let y'all know. We do have a little bit of news as it relates to that we can say. Ryan Wingo. I mean, this is the time of year where we all look at it and you see the new roster. They hand them out if you're a media member, they hand the new roster out to you as you're going into a practice. Okay. And the first thing you do is look what the new jersey numbers are for everybody, et cetera. Well, Ryan Wingo, I'm being told, has changed his jersey number from number 5. Ryan Wingo is your new number 1 on the Texas jersey roster. So he'll be number 1. DeAndre Moore, 0. So they're going for those low numbers. I'm guessing Jamie French and Khalil Lockett are going to fight it out for number 2 or something, Jerry.
Low numbers on the field, big numbers in NIL.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Hey, by the way, we're looking for the updated Texas football roster, which could come today or maybe the day of the first spring practice. But we're looking for that here within the next 24 hours at some point.
It'll be fun because we'll get to see new jersey numbers. Some guys are going to change. Ryan Wingo's changed to 1 from 5. There will definitely be others. A lot of freshmen going into sophomores change their numbers, Jerry. Not so many upperclassmen, like true upperclassmen, juniors and seniors change, but the freshman group, the safety group will probably change a little. The corner group, etc., will change as they leave the as they get an opportunity for lower numbers, in my opinion. So good stuff. Excited about Ryan Wingo, man. That'll be good. You mentioned anything else you're looking forward to on Pro Day tomorrow, Jerry? Like I was thinking about the reason I ask is how important is a pro day for an Andrew Makuba? Look, I just remember watching Ryan Watts last year. You and I were there.
Yeah.
And I think Ryan Watts made the Pittsburgh Steelers that day by how hard he worked his off, and wasn't necessarily going to be guaranteed to be drafted, etc. But he had a great workout. You could tell he wanted it. I feel like the more people see Andrew Makuba, the more they're going to like him. And that's why I think this could be a big one for him tomorrow too. Because those positions, those 3rd and 4th round picks are all about what people like. I liked him. It's not the freak 6'2", 180, 4'3" guys are gone. They're off the board by that time.
Yeah.
So you're going off of who do I like? Who do I think's the better player? I think the more people see and are around Andrew Makuba, the more solidified his ranking will go. And more likely it goes up than down, frankly. That's why I think tomorrow's a big day for him.
I got some news.
Yeah.
Okay, go for it.
That I need to, I guess, set the record straight, and Texas fans aren't going to like it. No, Aaliyah Chavez is not taking in the Texas game today. That is just a rumor, and she will announce tomorrow afternoon, early afternoon, 2 p.m. That announcement will be on ESPN. They are not allowing other media at the school, so it's just ESPN. So we'll all find out together tomorrow.
Okay. 1 o'clock, you said?
1 or 2. Don't know 100% yet. I'll know here in a little bit. They're still trying to get all those details worked out, but as soon as I find out, I will pass it along to everyone else as well.
If this was a football decision, message boards will be going wild about it. It's such an interesting recruitment for me because it's just interesting because there's a lot of dynamics with it, more so than most recruitments. The city of Lubbock probably will never have the #1 ranked girls basketball recruit in America ever again. So It's a really big deal for Texas Tech. And if she doesn't pick Texas Tech, which if she picks somebody in a Nike school, I'll be surprised. I've been wrong before. Then there's at least a 50-50 chance she goes to Texas. And boy, that just if you're in Lubbock, you hate it, right? Then there's Oklahoma. Texas has so many things going for them: branding, university, chance to continue to build your legacy in your home state. There's so many things you can just ravel them off. And what does Oklahoma have going for them? Style of play. So it's such an interesting decision dynamic here in recruitment because of where she lives, and she's the best player ever from that city, which has a college in that city that is a major player in the NIL game when they want to be. And then you have her, but that's an Adidas school. And then you have her always worn Nikes her whole life, either has or is expected to sign a contract endorsement deal with Nike now. There's so many layers to this recruitment. It's going to be a really interesting decision. By the way, for Pro Day, it's a huge day for Quinn. And he needs to, and nobody's ever perfect. He was close to perfect at Pro Day last year when he was throwing to all the wideouts, Bobby. Quinn needs to have an A+ day tomorrow for me. He needs to have an A+ day. He needs to kind of become the talk from that Pro Day for his draft stock. But like Derek asked, why does Quinn get hammered for Georgia, but Warden Sanders get nothing from poor outings? I've said before, the biggest thing that Quinn has to overcome in this process is Steve Sarkisian pulled his third-year starting quarterback in the biggest game of the year to date. He had to pull him. That's a hard thing to overcome when the NFL really digs in on players. Is he literally had to pull him from the game in the biggest game of the season, a home game. That's a tough thing to overcome. I mean, Cam Warden, Shedeur Sanders, it didn't go that far. Everybody has bad games, but that's hard thing to explain away.
Yeah, I agree. But I mean,
we'll see if he can
I
get
will
back.
say this: Arch Manning didn't do any better. It looked like he was shell shocked. And frankly, I can't blame him because it looked like the pass rush that night was coming from everywhere. I mean, I think you could have put Peyton Manning at quarterback and it would have still looked like he was just getting overwhelmed. But I agree. What does Quinn decide to do at this pro day? Is he going to throw? Is he not? Those sorts of things. We'll see. But one of the things I wanted to add, and I posted this on Texas Football, I'm being told, Jerry, that it's going to be the most attended pro day at Texas in at least the last 15 years.
Makes sense.
That shouldn't be a surprise, but at least the last 15 years, 50 plus NFL personnel expected. So all 32 teams, multiple head coaches, you get the picture. It's going to be Steve Sarkisian's going to have a little coaching convention while he's out there because everybody's going to try to get in his ear at least a little bit. So a lot of pro coaches and scouts expected on the field tomorrow.
Somebody I want to address, Tyler Rollo said, is Golden the first receiver off the board? It really is just going to come down to the type of receiver you want, the offensive style, eye of the beholder, because Tetero McMillan out of Arizona is really, really good too. Totally different size receivers, different frames. So it's really going to come down to the eye of the beholder on that.
Luther Burden's another one that's getting mocked really highly. I don't have a look. If I'll say this: they had Matt Miller had Matthew Golding going at 16, correct, Blake? That was the number, I think.
Yes, I believe that is correct. Let me double check.
The number one wide receiver is not going off the board at 16. So if he's the number one wide receiver, he's not going. It's not waiting until 16. We'll see. I just think it's interesting how before this season, I would have told you Kelvin Banks was the number one NFL prospect for the team, bar none. I don't know that I would have had Jahdae Barron or Matthew Golden as higher than a second round pick at best for Jahdae Barron because he hadn't played corner yet. And then Matthew Golden, I would have been thinking third or fourth round, maybe if he has a good year. I never would have said first round for Matthew Golden. Now, maybe that's my own mistake, but I don't think anybody else had Matthew Golden going in and becoming a first round pick out of this season. That's just crazy to me. I'm happy for him, obviously, but it's crazy.
All right, guys. We got a super chat here that I am going to read from our friend Jack. Thank you, Jack, as always. He says, congrats to CDC for constructing the best head coaches room in college athletics.
A lot of truth in that statement. I mean, he takes proven winners, right? I mean, really the most incredible hire to me, Jerry, how long was Eddie Reese the head coach at Texas? Seriously, like 40 or 50 years?
I was going with 70, but yeah.
Okay, but my point is wins double-digit national championships, yada, yada. So what does CDC go out and do? He goes out and hires Bob Bowman, who coached Michael Phelps and won a national championship at Arizona the year before. I mean, that is just like a Godfather move. That's like, let's just go get the best and be done with it. And all the other coaches, whether it's been Vic Schaefer or Mike White, guys like that, Jim Schlossnagle was a Godfather move, in my opinion, as well, of a different sort. CDC has no qualms pulling the trigger, and does a really, really nice job of it, in my opinion, Jack.
And on a related note, this one from Jeff Carey. Thank you, Jeff. Who's the best Texas head coach? And don't forget swimming.
I would say the swimming coach, and I think volleyball right now too, man. Multiple national championships. Yeah. Now, the question, I mean, swimming, and I just don't know what the answer is going to be there. There's so many that you could put in that category. I mean, Mike White is really good in women's softball, but he hasn't gotten over the hump because Oklahoma's the 800-pound gorilla. There's just a lot of good coaches on Texas campus right now. A lot. I mean, Steve Sarkisian in potentially the most competitive sport in college sports, the most difficult sport to win at because all the money goes towards it. Football, 2 back-to-back semifinals. I mean, they've got a lot of really good coaches right now on the university.
Question will be, of the big 3 sports, who's the first one to get it done?
Yeah.
Yep.
The men's side, yeah.
Obviously, basketball is going to be everybody's last pick. Texas has never won it in basketball.
Yeah. Baseball and football have definitely, yeah. Man, it might be Schloss.
Odds are it will be Schloss. Because the interesting thing now is winning a national championship, and Ryan Day, obviously, he did it in year 1. Over time, though, it is winning 4 games in a row. It's going to be more difficult to win a college football national championship than ever. It's not 2 games anymore. Now you're going to have to win 4, especially as this goes to 16 teams. There's not going to be buys. You're going to have to win 4 games in a row to win a national championship in football. It's going to get harder than ever for people to win it in football.
Fair. I think that's fair. I look, they're 5-1 in conference. I mean, this team, what did they finish in conference last year, Blake, in the Big 12?
Oh, gosh.
I mean, I think coaching matters. I think that's why CDC tries to get the right coaches. Holy cow. And I like David Pierce took Texas to what, 3 World Series, College World Series? It's not like he's a bad coach.
20-10.
They were 20-10 last year.
In conference, 35-20 overall.
And they've already won how many games now? What are they?
21? 20.
Now let's say this. Play off of that a little bit. If that was in the SEC, they'd have been below 500. Now, we wouldn't have been over like the Aggies, but they would have been below 500 last year in SEC play. Right, Blake? That's pretty inarguable, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Does the Aggies got swept again in baseball?
Yes.
Right? By Vanderbilt.
0-6 in conference.
They're 0-6 in conference. Blake, was it you that sent that? We talked about this. If he keeps losing and I'm A&M, and I think I'm going to have to make the move anyways at the end of the season, I try to do something right now to salvage this season because they've got an unbelievable roster. Don't they have a great roster? And they're just not
one of the best in college baseball, and arguably the number 1 overall pick in the MLB draft.
And they're just not putting it together. Yeah. So they're dangerous, but man,
they're 11-13.
Yeah, sub 500.
And they have Kentucky at home this weekend. Then it's at Tennessee.
They'll lose to Kentucky. They'll lose to Tennessee.
Then it's at South Carolina. No, sorry, South Carolina's at home. I whenever I see Blue Bell Park, I don't know what. I just always think it's what. Then they're at Arkansas. Then they're at Texas.
Yeah, Casey has a good point. The lesson learned is never hire who your players want you to hire as a school. Sometimes have we seen that gone wrong?
That was one of the weirdest scenarios all time in college sports, though. Your rival ripped your head coach, and you literally had such red ass that you made a hire to keep your best players from transferring to Texas with them. That was just an out of spite thing almost, and just pure red ass.
Yep.
And I get it.
It was stupid.
I get it, but
I wouldn't call it red. I would call it dumb. Yeah, that's what I would. I think the bigger point is I really agree. Don't hire who your players want. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've seen people do that. Hire who the players want. And it just goes wrong. I mean, I go back to when Matt Brown was hired at Texas. Okay. Carl Torbush was going to be the defense coordinator with Matt Brown at Texas. But the North Carolina players wanted Carl Torbush to be their head coach. So they hired Carl Torbush, who was then fired 4 years later because he just wasn't a head coach guy. No offense to him, good coach, all this other stuff. Nick Saban leaves Michigan State. Okay. So Michigan State players want Bobby Williams to be the new head coach. They hire Bobby Williams. He has one good year, fired 4 years later. It never works out. I mean, I can't remember a time when somebody said, I want this, the player said, I want this coach, and it actually worked out. Anybody remember a scenario where the players had kind of an uprising and they therefore hired that coach? The problem is a lot of those guys are, it's one thing when like Matt Brown, he leaves to go elevate a job, right? It's another thing when you fire a coach. Then you just don't, the players, what the players say doesn't matter. But when you try to elevate a coach, when a coach elevates and goes from, like Saban did, from Michigan State to LSU, then you understand, at least the players think they have some say. But I can't recall a single time where that's worked. Maybe I'm wrong.
So I want, and I'm not bringing this up to start the fight again, but it does matter. Okay. Remember when Lucci wanted to fight GH at a summer cemetery last year, but I want to bring this up, not because to kick people while they're down, but this is important. And this is why I brought it up at the time. You can't smooch the buttocks, the butt cheeks of somebody for years, and then when they leave, character assassinate them the next day for weeks. How's that working out for you now? Just putting it out there. How's it working out? You can't kiss the buttocks for years, then go character assassinate somebody when they leave. How's that working out? It's not.
Oh, man. All right, guys, we got a lot more to talk about, and then we're going to get to a lot more of your questions. But first, I want to tell you all about one of our newest sponsors. I'm actually drinking it this morning, Huel. I'm always on the go. 3 kids. I'm always busy, which means a lot of the time I just don't have time to sit and prepare a meal and then, of course, cook it. Every morning, I'm scrambling, trying to get the kids ready, sent off to school. Then I'm rushing to get ready for coffee and football. And that doesn't exactly leave a lot of time for breakfast. That's where Huel comes in. Their Black Edition ready to drink is a meal in a bottle. There's no prep, no hassle. I just grab it from the fridge. I'm all set. It's definitely a lifesaver for me. It's not just for breakfast, though. It gets me going anytime during the day when I can't find the time to eat. And I try to eat and drink well, and Huel checks all the boxes for me. It's high in protein. It contains a ton of vitamins to support my immune system, and it's low in sugar with only 6 grams per bottle. Not to mention it tastes good, and there are multiple flavors to choose from. That includes vanilla, chocolate, strawberry, banana, and iced coffee. I'm actually drinking vanilla right now, and it's my favorite along with the iced coffee, and you'll find something that you like, I guarantee it. Huel is also going to hook OTF listeners up. New customers, visit Huel.com/OnTexas today and use code OnTexas to get 15% off your first order plus a free gift. That's Huel, HUEL.com/OnTexas, using promo code OnTexas for 15% off and a free gift. Check them out. Okay, in other news, Bobby, you talked about Ryan Wingo wearing number 1. Well, we also just found out that Michael Terry is going to be wearing number 11. How about that?
The freshman's coming. We got other jersey numbers as well coming in here today. Jamie French will be number 2.
Same as high school.
Yep. KJ Lacey, number 8, the freshman quarterback out of Mobile. Justice Terry, how about this number for the defensive lineman, Jerry? And Blake, he's going to be number 15. Interesting for a defensive tackle, defensive end, number 15. Dalen McCutcheon will be number 17. Lance Jackson keeps his high school number, and I think it was his brother's number 2, number 40. And then Emery Winston, the tight end, number 85. CJ Vogel compiled that list behind the scenes while we were talking this morning. So thank you to CJ. Again, Jamie French, number 2. KJ Lacey, number 8. Michael Terry, number 11. Justice Terry, number 15. Dalen McCutcheon, number 17. Lance Jackson, number 40. And Emery Winston, number 85. As we get more, we will let you know. I guess Emory Winston taking over for Gunnar Helm there at number 85.
There you go.
Good stuff. Love it. Thanks for bringing that photo up of Michael Terry. I love seeing a guy's first jersey with his name on it, that sort of stuff.
Leo with a funny there, Justice Norton. I like it.
Justice Norton.
About 70
Bill
pounds
Norton.
less.
Hey, that is true. Bill Norton's number was 15. Yep. That's right. Good one. I love it.
All right. Let's get to some more questions, fellas.
Yeah.
And we're just going to start here. From MP Houston. We've been talking about coaches. We've been talking baseball. By the way, Texas baseball ranked number 3, guys, in the latest Baseball America poll. So moving on up. But MP Houston, thank you for your super chat, says, guys, regarding Schloss, have you ever seen anything like the impact he's had on both the team he joined and left? Maybe Tom Brady leaving New England for Tampa. I'm so impressed with Schloss and our team. That makes 2 of us, MP Houston.
Ever. Have I ever seen as big North Carolina was a big one, actually, to speak of that with Mac Brown and Carl. I don't know that I have. I do want to say I want to say, because a friend of mine's listening to the show, and he texted me that there was one coach where the players rose up and has proved out to be really good. Notre Dame and Marcus Freeman. That's a good call. So hats off to you, Adam, for sending that in.
Call.
So there is proof that it does work sometimes, just not often. As far as Schloss is concerned, I mean, I don't know that I've never seen anything like this where
that's crazy.
Especially when, like, sometimes you leave no talent behind and it happens.
Right.
Okay. They still have an incredible amount of talent at A&M. I mean, literally, so I don't know what to tell you about A&M and what they've got. What has happened at Texas, they've added some players, and one of the stars from last year is playing like a star, and that's Max Baloo. He's playing otherworldly right now, Blake.
The improvement across the board is insane. I mean, it really is. It's outstanding.
What
good,
Blake? I see a graphic. Bring it up. It's a good one.
I do, and I just told y'all Texas number 3, but look at the top 5. Notice anything?
Yeah.
Every single one is SEC in the top 5. Is that not insane?
I'm going to have to get used to the difference in the
Alabama
font, or whatever you want to call it, between Arkansas and Alabama.
Oh, I know. I hate it.
Arkansas looks more like, I don't know, it looks like it was Old English, and Alabama looks like it's, I don't even know what to say that is.
By the way, I've often said it hasn't come up enough, but we always talk about the talent in the Southeast region. Bring that back up for a second, Blake, in football. But it's the same in baseball. I mean, look at your teams. Tennessee, Alabama, Texas, Georgia, LSU, Florida State, Clemson, Oklahoma, Alabama, Auburn, Vanderbilt, Ole Miss. I mean, Florida. There is Dallas Baptist. There is so much baseball talent, too, in the southern states. It's not talked about enough because football dominates. But California is a great state for baseball. But the Southeast region states, I mean, are great baseball states. And you can't have a great conference without having great talent in your region and in your area.
Well, I would say this, too. Like, it follows naturally that warm weather states would be better in baseball. And they play it more often, more year-round.
Yep.
So California included in that, along with the Southeast. The Midwest is just, I mean, is there a Big Ten team? I guess Oregon's the Big Ten now, right?
Yeah.
Is that it? The only Big Ten team in the top 25?
Yeah.
So UCLA.
UCLA, baby.
Well, UCLA's Big Ten now, too. So.
Stanford.
No,
ACC. That's right. ACC. That's right.
So, but I mean, if you look, your biggest AAU or whatever you want to call them. It's not AAU baseball tournaments, Blake, or what? Georgia, Florida, obviously. Some big ones
Alabama.
in Texas and Alabama, Texas, and California.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 11 top 25 teams
That's
in
insane.
Baseball America.
5 of the top 5.
Unbelievable.
And by the way, while we're on it, when the SEC got 14 teams into the NCAA basketball tournament, there was a lot of talk about, was the SEC overrated? They got 7 in the Sweet 16. Now, if you have 14 in a tournament, you have better odds, but the SEC is a monster in basketball. I mean, talent-wise, it's a monster. And, the last thing I'll say, I'm sure we got questions. Shawn Miller's coming to Texas at the right time. The SEC is going to continue to get more and more hype and attention in basketball moving forward. It's probably going to become the conference. Pretty good time to take the job, if you ask me. The guy might be on to something. Let's see.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned Shawn Miller, Jerry, because our next 2 super chats are regarding him. And Nicolani here, thank you for the super chat, says thoughts on Shawn Miller retaining Weaver and or Pryor.
Yeah, it's too early to know for sure. I posted something on TexasFootball.com on all that subject. Guys at Texas, guys at Xavier, and high school recruits that signed with both programs, and Koa Pete hanging out there as a 5-star. And what's going on with the coaching carousel could bring more guys into play that sign letters of intent. We'll have to see in the high school recruiting. I'm not saying Texas. Look, Shawn Miller is very complimentary of Kendall Weaver during the game and after the game. Obviously, he brings a lot to a team, culture-wise, effort-wise. The key there is if Shawn Miller thinks he can unlock something offensively with Kendall Weaver that hasn't before, especially going into year 4. He's improved as a shooter. He's not a volume shooter. Then I think he'll absolutely try to retain him. But I'll say this too. Your Texas Techs and your Texas A&Ms will be after Kendall Weaver too. So we'll see what happens. With the rest of the guys, Jamie Vinson, the 6'11" kid who played a little bit, has got a really high ceiling. I know that was a kid that people were very high on inside the program throughout the year, his upside. Then you have Devin Pryor, Tremont Mark to get another year, Jordan Pope. There were rumors Nick Cody was already headed out, but prior to the coaching change, we'll see. I'm not saying it's true. I'm not sure how many guys will be retained, honestly, because I think there's a chance it brings 2 or 3 guys, and we got to see. I'm not saying it's for sure done, but if Ryan Conwell and Dalen Swain wanted to transfer to Texas, it would come with Shawn Miller. You're not turning those guys down. And Swain and Devin Pryor play the same position. And Swain is a really good player. He doesn't shoot it at a high level. He's going to get better, but Dalen Swain's a really good basketball player. So a lot of that will be kind of do both of those guys. And I'm not saying they are. It's too early to know. Go to Texas with Shawn Miller. That affects the guys already on the roster because those 2 guys are better players. So individually are better players, and they already know his system. So, I mean, Ryan Conwell, you want for sure. He's one of the top shooters in college basketball, 99 threes at 41%, averaged 16.5, had 20-plus point games against St. John's, Creighton, UConn, 38 against Marquette. He's a high-level dude. So it's going to be interesting to see how it melds together. But a lot of it will come down to do both of those guys at Xavier come to Texas with Shawn Miller. If they do, that's going to block guys at Texas immediately.
Hey, Jerry, I got to ask you. You mentioned Ryan Conwell, and you said earlier that Shawn Miller is a good evaluator of offensive talent. Was Ryan Conwell a top 50 recruit in the country? No. And so that's what you mean by a good offensive talent evaluator. He finds those guys that fit pieces for what he wants to do.
Yeah, I think so. And so he has a kid that signed. He had 2 guards that were top 100 ranked prospects in the country that he signed early. Jaden Forsyth, a 6'5" high-level shooter from Westtown High in Norristown, PA, same high school Mo Bamba went to, although a lot of kids transfer in there, to be clear. And then Nick Lewis, point guard from Gonzaga College Prep in Washington, D.C., top 50 level kid in the country. See, the 2 guards he signed, really good players. I mean, Nick Lewis picked Xavier over Michigan and Creighton. Really good player, obviously. Dusty May, McDermott know what they're looking at, too, an offensive player. So it's going to be – that's where I think Shawn Miller's strength really is guard evaluation, multiple guys that can shoot it, bigs that have skill. That's why I'm really high on Shawn Miller. And, again, that's going to be interesting to see. Somebody asked about John Clark, this Texas signing. Obviously, if Shawn Miller wants him at Texas, I think he'll be at Texas. He trains with TJ Ford. He played for TJ Ford, elite AAU. John Clark broke his pinky finger on a shooting hand this year and only played in 7 games, and most of those were injured before he had surgery and missed the season. He's a really talented kid. I mean, I think he's got a career in basketball in front of him. So he's very talented. Look, if Miller wants him at Texas, I don't see where he'd go anywhere else.
Hey, Jerry, I just wanted you to know you were talking about the SEC getting the 7 teams in the Sweet 16. That's actually the most by a conference since the round was introduced in 1975. The previous mark was 6. So SEC set a record there. All right, we have another super chat regarding Shawn Miller, and this one from Miracle Martinez. Thank you, Miracle. He says, help us understand how CDC ignores Miller's Arizona firing reasons. He fires Beard, yet brings in another with questionable ethics. I truly want to understand.
Ethic, look, potentially choking a woman is different than what Shawn Miller did. I mean, I'm not trying to be, there are different types of fouls in life, just like there are different types of fouls in basketball. Potentially what Chris Beard did, potentially, or allegedly, etc. However you want to do that, is different than what Shawn Miller did. It just is. And I will say this, Texas has had some success in hiring a guy like Steve Sarkisian, who was not without his own transgressions. Okay. You can't just, guys get second chances if they're legitimate second chances. So I don't have a problem with this from that standpoint. He was caught up in the FBI wiretaps, I think, at Arizona. Is that accurate, Jerry?
No, he did not receive his show calls, by the way.
Yeah, unlike some others. Yeah. And so I feel like it's a little bit different. But I see what you're asking. Questionable. How many people are 100% clean in this world?
In college basketball recruiting?
Probably, no, here's what I was going to say. Probably 0, although their record shows is clean.
Yeah.
Put it that way. Probably 0.
Yeah. I can tell you this. I can tell you covering recruiting on both of them for 2 decades plus now, nothing comes close to basketball.
Oh, you mean as far as the dirtiness or the?
Oh yeah,
with all the I'm no offense.
Because the shoe companies.
Shoe companies. Sonny Vaccaro, the guy that they did the movie about with Michael Jordan. He used to he would eviscerate the NCAA. Yeah. He would basically say, yeah, I bought them for this school. And they couldn't do anything about it. So yes, when you had one of the lead guys being very open about flaunting NCAA rules. Anyways.
Yeah.
Basketball recruiting is different animal.
Different animal than anything I've ever covered. It's not even close to football.
We're going to get to some more questions here in just a second. But first, Jerry, tell everyone out there about Factor.
Man, Factor. When you have a good product, when it's delivered to your casa and everybody takes it and eats it before you get a chance to. That is good stuff, right? Are you ready to optimize your nutrition this year? Factor has you covered. Their chef-made gourmet meals make it easy. Eating well, very easy. They're dietitian approved and ready to eat in just 2 minutes. You can fuel right and feel great no matter what life throws at you. Important for A&M fans right now. With 40 options across 8 dietary preferences on the menu each week, it's easy to pick meals tailored to your goals. Choose from your preferences like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, and Keto. Speaking of keto, you can lose up to 8 pounds in 8 weeks with Factor's Keto Meals Done Deal. We're all in. Oh, orders. This is based on randomized controlled clinical trial with Factor Keto. Results will obviously vary depending on diet and exercise. Reach your goals this year with ingredients you can trust and convenience that can't be beat. Factor will help you feel your best all day with some wholesome smoothies, breakfast, grab-and-go snacks, and more add-ons. Eat smart with Factor. Get started at factorsmeal.com/Texas50 off and use that code Texas50 off to get 50 off your first box plus free shipping. Again, that code is Texas50 off at factormeals.com.
Thank you, Jerry. And I'm going to let everyone out there know about My Athlete 360. I think this is a phenomenal idea. I wish I had it a few years ago when Colt was younger. But join thousands of coaches and families already succeeding with My Athlete 360. For coaches and trainers, this is your gateway to growth for yourself and the organizations that you represent. Showcase your expertise and connect directly with families actively seeking your skills, all without expensive marketing costs. And for parents, My Athlete 360 brings trusted athletic opportunities right to your fingertips with customizable filters for age, sport type, and budget that will match your child with the perfect coach or trainer. Whether you're a coach building a thriving business, a volunteer coach looking to bring new kids in your youth organization, or just a parent seeking quality training, My Athlete 360 makes the connection simple and secure. Check them out today. Their community is growing fast. Create your profile today and be part of the movement that's revolutionizing youth sports and training. Download My Athlete 360 in the App Store. Your competitive advantage awaits.
That is a good idea, Blake.
Oh,
really
phenomenal.
Good idea.
Absolutely, for sure.
Hey, Bo Barnes will be number 30. That's another number that just came in. CJ Vogel reporting that for us. We'll get add that to the list of freshmen. This is always fun, man. We're there. We've been waiting for this week for what, a month, Jerry? There'll also be some recruits on campus this weekend for the Texas relays.
That's what it really gets going for Texas football recruiting again, is when, this visit weekend coming up this weekend, some guys will be trickling through, but then April 12th as well. Those are the two big visit weekends, and we'll see how many additions to the official visitors list, which is around 42, 43 now, waiting on a confirmation there. Is when a lot more visits will be added. It looks like it could get over 50 this year. Now, there's 2 guys on there that have since committed, like Jabari Mack committed to LSU over the weekend. And look, I gave everybody a little bit of a hint on that deal. When I saw the sister, I think it was this little sister, walking into Moncrief Newhouse on Junior Down January 20th, I remember looking at Jeff Howe and CJ and saying, she was wearing yellow shoes with purple socks and had purple streaks in her hair. Not exactly the family member that is not leaning to LSU. So that one's a tough one. But look, Texas will stay on these guys. They're going to stay on their top targets. We've seen it for 3 straight years now. Some of those guys committed elsewhere. We'll visit Texas. We'll see if they follow through with official visits. They'll visit in the spring. We'll see if they follow through with official visits. These commitments early kind of I don't know, Bobby. Set the target set the target for the competition. Let's say.
Yeah, I completely agree with what you're saying. I think that's part of what happens is they basically set the bottom marker, right, to begin. Like, I don't think Tristan Keys in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, has made his last visit to a college campus.
No.
If he is, and I will say this, if he has, he's probably selling himself short. Even though LSU's not minimizing LSU, okay? It's just like if Jalen Lott were to go commit to Oregon right now. I think he's probably selling himself a little short. That's all I would say. I want to add this in case you've joined us in the last 10 to 15 minutes. Jersey changes and jersey numbers being revealed somewhat today by young freshmen, as well as some upperclassmen. Ryan Wingo moving from number 5 to number 1 for the Longhorns. Some other numbers coming in for high schoolers. Jamie French will be number 2. KJ Lacey, number 8. Michael Terry, number 11. Justice Terry, number 15. Dalen McCutcheon, number 17. Bo Barnes, number 30. Lance Jackson, number 40. Emery Winston, number 85. We're tracking all of this for you guys on ontexasfootball.com. We've kind of got a jersey number thread going that CJ is responding to and trying to get out there as quickly as possible for everyone. So visit us at ontexasfootball.com. CJ's updating that as we go.
Somebody asked about, you have to bring the question up, the latest on Ethan Booby Feaster at DeSoto, scheduled to be on campus here in the next couple of weeks. We'll see if an official visit happens after that. Texas has 6 guys scheduled for official visits. Booby Feaster is a really talented player. Where he's at on Texas board may not be quite as high as he is on the fans board. Good player, very good player. I'm not saying he's not. He's a really good player. He reclassed from 27 to 26. There are some tremendous wide receivers in 26.
Jerry, there's like 5 guys that have reclassed from 27 to 26 that Texas is in on pretty heavily. There's a defensive end out of California, out of Sierra Canyon, that apparently is really high on Texas. Xavier Crowell, the running back out of Alabama, really high on Texas. Mark Bowman, the tight end out of Mater Dei, really high on Texas. There's a lot of reclasses from 27 to 26 that Texas has got some ends on early on in the process.
Another super chat.
You saved yourself, Blake. Good job.
I almost did it. Red here. Thank you for the super chat. Where is y'all's confidence level at with the offensive line starters this coming year? I feel more and more confident. May struggle early, but should improve.
What do you mean by confidence level? How good the O-line will be, I guess?
I think that's what he said.
I think Bobby, look, spring practice in August will tell the story, but I see a scenario where it's a better run blocking unit, guard, center guard. Maybe not as good a run blocking unit at tackle, but maybe better pass pro as well.
Well, I think putting
so we'll see.
I think it's going to be a different style of run blocking unit. And not saying that Sark is going to all of a sudden change his run scheme. But man for man, pound for pound, I think they have a chance to be better guard, center guard at power blocking.
Yes.
One-on-one moving people. And that's not a knock on the guys that were there, because they started ahead of these guys for a reason. Okay. But to that point, I think that the power run game internally can be different. I think the big loss is at tackle. I mean, I know Trevor Gooseby played really, really well, but he's got to prove that on a weekly basis this coming year. He's capable. And then at right tackle, I mean, Cam Williams is going to be a top 50 to top 75 pick. Kelvin Banks is a top 10 to 15 pick. I mean, guys, I think that Trevor Gooseby and Brandon Baker and probably Andre Coach, they're all possible NFL players, but are they that highly drafted? So I'm a little, I do think that there's some truth in that they will be better at the end of the year than they are at the start, particularly because, and Tony Hills talks about this with us guys, about how they have to gel together and come together as a unit to see what they really do best. I think Sark late in the year will be able to figure that out for them a little bit and help them along. We'll see. Like he did he did that with Texas. He found out that Trey Weiser could really run outside zone. So then teams started defending outside zone in the really well, and the Texas run game went nowhere for a couple weeks. I mean, there's going to be some checks and balances there.
Okay, our next super chat is trying to get a graphic ready for it. Daddy, thank you for your super chat. Going to Vegas this summer. I'm going to put some money on the Longhorns to win the Natty. Tell me I'm crazy.
What's the odds? What are
That's what
odds?
I was working on getting there. I'm about to throw it up. They actually have the second best odds, guys. Let me remove this. So Ohio State has the best odds at plus 600. Texas at 650, along with Oregon, followed by Georgia at 700, Penn State at 800. And that's your top five. Then it starts jumping into 1,200 and above with Notre Dame, Tennessee, Alabama, Clemson, so on and so forth.
So really interesting. Obviously, Ryan Day now has the national championship, new starting quarterback. Texas, coach looking for first national championship, new starting quarterback. Oregon, same. Georgia, obviously, they got to get through school zones for the rest of the few months. Penn State, do you take the next step there? Trying to win first national championship. Marcus Freeman, new starting quarterback, trying to win first national championship. Tennessee, same. Year 2 for Kalen DeBoer with a new starting quarterback. Clemson and Penn State have the most experience at the right positions coming back, Bobby. It's wide open. It is a wide open year next year because all the quarterback changes at these schools.
If I'm betting, I wouldn't take any of the top 4 to win the national championship. Like to win it. Now, if Arch Manning is better than we even think and arrives earlier, then all bets are off. I want to say that. But the 3 teams that I think on paper are Penn State, Notre Dame, and Clemson. I mean, Notre Dame, they've got a freak at running back. I don't know how else to say that. So they've got a great player at running back. They've got good receivers. Quarterback position they are confident in, although they don't know who it is yet. They have 2 very good players. Yeah. Lloyd Carr's, for those old school guys that remember Lloyd Carr, the former Michigan head coach who won a national championship with Charles Woodson, his grandson is fighting to be the starting quarterback at Notre Dame right now. But Penn State, Notre Dame, and Clemson, I don't know that I'm a big believer in Dabo on defense, but we'll see. If Arch Manning, I will say this, Arch Manning to me is an X factor for Texas's chances. Like, I don't like Ohio State's chances. I don't like Oregon's, and I don't like Georgia's. I don't think they have the quarterbacks. So we'll see. We'll see how good Arch Manning is.
All right, before we get to our last few questions of the day, Bobby, I'm going to let you tell everyone out there about Longhorn Wealth Management Group.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you to John Donovan and his team at Longhorn Wealth Management. As a proud UT alum, John served 15 years as a Dallas Texas Exes board member and is now helping lead the build-out of the Collin County Texas Exes chapter. John's excited about the UT women's basketball team and their opportunity to advance to the Sweet 16. They play at 1 o'clock this afternoon against Illinois at the Moody Center. Likewise, John wants to help all OTF fans advance their own financial futures. He offers a 90-minute free private consultation to all OTF fans, showing them how working with a certified financial planner like John can help you identify and implement the strategies and solutions you need to ensure wealth management, as well as your goals and objectives, including your retirement and legacy planning visions. Call John and his team at Longhorn Wealth, 972-707-4900, or go online, www.longhornwealth.net, to schedule your free 90-minute private consultation today. Hook them from John and the team, and good luck to the women's basketball team today at 1 o'clock.
All right, we got a couple of super chats left here. Jack, once again, thank you, as always. He says, Jerry, last night you mentioned that NIL will be linked to revenue sharing. Can you expand on that a little?
Bobby, I'll let you kind of go through that.
Yeah. So basically, say there's an even $20 million allotted to your college athletic department for NIL. Texas is going to put some of that towards men's basketball. Okay. That's the direct link, Jack. And so while football will get the preponderance of that, I think 75% of it, basketball will get a good percent. Men's basketball will get a good percentage of it as well. I think that, so when Jerry says that, it's going to be tied to that. Plus it'll be tied to what they can actually generate in NIL dollars outside of that. We'll see what that means overall. But I feel comfortable that Texas is going to not only utilize NIL revenue sharing from the university, but also outside sources. I mean, Texas is going to be competitive in that. I know that they're trying to say, oh, well, this isn't really an NIL. You're going to have a hard time deciding what's legit and what's not. I'm just going to, that is a idea that's fraught with legal challenges. And I bet that they try to institute that and it gets, just like everything else they've tried to do, you can't put the genie back in the bottle. And we'll see what that means long term, Jack.
Then our next super chat is from Michael Williams. And Michael says, I'm sorry if this has already been discussed, but can you talk about how success in other sports can or will impact men's basketball? Will players want to come here to be around all of that success? And I before y'all answer, I want to say, remember we had Kat Osterman on about a year ago, and she talked about this in the mid-2000s.
Yeah, I mean, look, with basketball, with men's basketball, I think there's an element to that, right? There's something to being the cool school and being one of the it schools, right? To start. You see that, and you see that with attendance at universities. I mean, just look how much Tuscaloosa changed with Nick Saban before you even get to the college. But look, I think for Shawn Miller in Texas basketball, you have one of the premier top 3 or 4 arenas and practice facilities in the country in college basketball. It's an NBA facility is what it is. And you're coming into the SEC when the SEC is at an all-time high in basketball. You're coming to Texas when there's going to be more investment in basketball than ever before. And that is salary pool for your assistants, analytics department, GM, all the way down. And NIL obviously is going to be much more than what it has been. And it's a really, and you still have your NBA cachet with KD in the league now. You know, Trey Johnson will be going in top 7 pick next year. But it's very important, and Shawn Miller will get this level type of player to bring in a few more NBA guys and get this NBA kind of restarted, having guys drafted to where you have that as part of your overall pitch as well, because KD's coming to the I'm sorry, KD, I know you're not listed, but I'm just saying he's coming to getting close to the end of being one of the greatest players to ever put on the tie the laces up in. And a lot of those guys are coming to end of careers that played under Rick Barnes in the NBA. So and that means Jared Allen, Miles Turner, those guys have years left. But, you know, your PJ Tuckers of the world, you see Tristan Thompson almost out, Corey Joseph almost out, DJ Augustine recently retired. Katie's getting up there in terms of how many years left as a high-level player going to have, maybe 2 or 3, but if he stays injury-free. So I think it's important there. But everything that the coach has going for them coming into Texas right now, man, it checks a lot of boxes. It checks a lot of boxes. And you have a worldwide brand to recruit to, and Texas basketball's never really taken advantage of it. I expect them to now.
Hey, my response to that is winners want to be around winners. You know, and now is it the priority to be great at all sports? If you're a basketball player or a baseball player, no, your sport is the most important. So you want to be around a winner in your sport first and foremost. But I'm telling you, a rising tide lifts all ships. And, you know, you see it can be contagious. Success can be contagious in life. You hang out with winners, you're eventually going to be a winner yourself. And so I think it is impactful The degree to which it's impactful is debatable. I think that the most important thing is they want to be around a team that wins of their own team. So whether that's basketball, baseball, what have you, but within an athletic program overall, when expectations are high, the higher expectations you have, typically the better off outcomes are for you as a team. Because, shoot for the stars and hit the moon is the old saying, right? You didn't quite make it the star, but at least you landed on the moon. So that's my take on that idea.
All right, guys, before we get out of here, Bobby, we've had a lot of people asking about spring ball that have joined late. They didn't hear us talking about it, and they're wanting to know about coverage as far as spring ball and pro day go. So I'm hoping you can kind of run that down for everybody.
Yeah, so right now, a couple things are happening. We don't know for sure if we're going to have any media viewing availability tomorrow. John Bianco and Thomas Stepp and those guys over at Texas Sports Information are expected to meet with folks today and let people know. So we don't know that yet. I don't think there are going to be any window media availabilities with the players on Tuesday, in part because pro day is Tuesday. They also have, you got to remember this, they also have the Texas relays coming up. The SID department's also going to have to worry about Shawn Miller and introducing him at some point. They've got the basketball game at the Moody Center at 1 today. There's just a lot of stuff going on the 40 acres right now. We will be there if we are allowed to be there. Absolutely. Jerry and I will be in town tomorrow morning early. We'll see what they do and don't allow. It is, our coverage will be somewhat reliant upon what they allow us to do, but we'll also have sources and discuss what we're hearing behind the scenes too. So that's our plan. We'll be at Pro Day tomorrow for sure and have a report from there.
All right, well, that's going to do it for today's episode of Coffee and Football presented by John Donovan and Longhorn Wealth Management Group. I want to thank them, along with Huel Factor and My Athlete 360, all for sponsoring today's show. Bobby, what do you have later today?
Jeff Howe is coming back with the Longhorn Weekly today around 11:30. We've got the Winning Drive, Rod Babers, CJ Vogel. Jerry and I are doing Talking Ball tonight at 7. I'm going to be in the air, so somebody's going to sit in for me on that. So I'll be flying into Austin today. One last thing I want to mention. My friend Gary that took the Vaughn Lane down on Friday went back on Sunday and said it was the perfect hangover cure. Was getting on a bus at around 10 a.m. and not having to worry about standing in lines. So hats off to Vaughn Lane for making Gary feel pretty good this weekend. I forgot to mention that.
Don't forget
to worry about driving back or flying back and standing in line. He just got on the bus. He said he closed his eyes and didn't wake up until he got to Dallas.
And don't forget Texas women's basketball round of 32 game later today at 1 p.m. as well. And while Bobby is talking about YouTube, we also can't be live all the time. So be sure to head on over to ontexasfootball.com. Join in on the discussion over there. Become a member using promo code OTFOG. That'll save you a couple bucks, and you'll lock in an annual subscription for just $49.95. Again, OTFOG is the promo code at ontexasfootball.com. And we'll be back same time, same place tomorrow. So for Bobby Burton and Jerry Hamilton, I'm Blake Monroe, and we'll see you then.